You will find in the bulletin this morning a yellow insert. I'm not asking you to look at it now. There are two things in this insert. On one side, you will find Charles Yancey's four steps in the process of forgiveness. And on the other side, you're going to find an experience I'm sharing with you of the frustration I found in moving through trying to forgive to being more able to. Every so often this morning, I'm going to close a portion of the sermon with the following words: when you forgive, you set a prisoner free. And I'm asking you to follow up those words by saying out loud these words: and you discover that the prisoner you release is you. Let's try that a bit. When you forgive, you set a prisoner free, and you discover that the prisoner you release is you. Again, when you forgive, you set a prisoner free, and you discover that the prisoner you release is you. A few years back, two women appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Both women were in their 40s. Both of them were very mature, both of them very open, alive, and responsive. One was blonde and a little bit slender. The other was brunette and a tiny bit heavier. But there was a common bond between these two women. The brunette woman had killed the blonde woman's daughter. The brunette woman was a recovering alcoholic who by this time had herself very well back together. But not before having done some tragic damage to people around her. She was a mother of 3 children. And while she allowed alcohol to have her in its grips, she tragically neglected her children. Even worse, she had gotten behind the wheel of a car one day in a drunken state and had plowed into the car carrying the other woman's only daughter, killing her. How would you feel toward a drunk who killed your only daughter? How would you feel toward a person whose lack of self-control and irresponsibility had taken away from you one you deeply, deeply loved? What would you do with the grief? What would you do with the anger? What would you do with the rage within you? I don't pretend to answer for what you would do with that situation. I don't know what I would do in that situation. Let me tell you what this woman did. She forgave the woman who killed her daughter. Was it easy? Was it a quick decision? Was it without inner and outer conflict? The answer is an emphatic no in each case. Did forgiving have a price? Yes, it did. By choosing the route she chose to forgive and to restore, the price was giving up other avenues, punishment and revenge. Now, this woman not only forgave the other woman in her mind, she reached out in love to the sad woman who had taken her daughter's life. She helped the woman deal with her own remorse. She helped the woman break her dependence on alcohol. She helped the woman take control of her life and become a loving mother again and a creative, responsible member of the community. And Oprah asked with obvious awe, "How did you do this? How did you forgive this woman who had done you such a terrible wrong?" And the blonde woman said, "I had to." And then she added, "Because someone else once forgave me." And then she shared some of the experiences of her life, its difficulties, its struggles. She concluded by saying, "In the depths of my struggles and the pain that I had caused myself and everyone around me, there were those who reached out to me with an unconditional love. Their love had requirements but no preconditions. Their love led me to experience the presence of God's unconditional love in my life. And I had to share that love with someone else. Wow. I have experienced the unconditional love of God in my life. Love without strings. Love without preconditions. Love simply given, not because you've done something extravagant or even something good, but simply because you are who you are, just as you are. And yes, love with requirements of responsibility and accountability to God, which translate into forgiveness, acceptance, inclusion, and reconciliation with others. When you forgive, you set a prisoner free, and you say, and you discover that the prisoner you release is you. Alan Paton wrote the novel Too Late to Phalarope at the height of apartheid. And in it he has one of the characters saying, "There's a hard truth, isn't there, that when an injury is done to us, we never heal until we forgive." The key in the process of forgiveness is not the one who has caused the harm. The key in the process of forgiveness is the one who has been wronged. How so? A soldier in the U.S. Army found a deeper faith in God, and he changed his life, and he began the habit of prayer every night before he went to bed. And he was ridiculed and tormented by some of the other soldiers in the barrack. And one night as he was kneeling in prayer, 2 ugly boots came flying, and one was a direct hit. He finished his prayer and climbed back into bed. And after everyone else was asleep, he got up and he cleaned and he polished those boots. And he put them beside the owner's bed. And he climbed back into bed and slept in peace. When a wrong is committed, one person causes hurt to another. But now, you see, now the one who has been hurt is in control of the overall outcome. For the one who has been hurt can forgive and restore and unite, or the one who has been hurt can blame, take revenge, tear down, and destroy. But the essential thing remains, does it not? That when a deep injury is done to us, we never heal. Individuals, families, congregations, communities, nations, sexes, religions, genders, whatever, we never heal until we forgive. When you forgive, you set a prisoner free, and you discover that the prisoner you release is you. Let me get at this another way. Charles Yancey makes us aware of 4 stages in the process of forgiveness. First, you must acknowledge that a hurt has been done to you. If you don't know a hurt's been done to you, there's nothing else to do. Excuse me. Second, when the hurt is done to you, obviously, predictably, you will blame the one who has hurt you, and you will even want to try to get even. Healing starts in the 3rd step. The 3rd step is the one in which your vision is now changed. It is changed from retaliation to reconciliation. From he's evil and I'm good and I'm going to make sure he gets everything that's coming to him, to how can we find a way to live with and for each other. At this point, you see, your feelings have changed so that you begin to wish for the other person the same thing that you wish for yourself before God. Finally, Yancey says you are at the 4th step, the point of forgiving another the thing that he or she has done to you. And at the same time, you are now accepting the other one as a person equal to you and of you as a child of God. You begin to dance instead of wallow. You move closer to people and closer to God. And Yancey says the words we've been saying, you set a prisoner free, and you discover that the prisoner you release is you. Make no mistake. Forgiveness is not primarily about arguing the correctness or the error or something. That may happen at a little later time. Nor is forgiveness a means of establishing blame. Forgiveness is the key that opens the lock on the door, so that those who have entered the dark night of estrangement and pain may reach out again to one another in love. Let me say that again, because if you forget everything else I say this morning, I want you to take that home. Forgiveness is the key that opens the door, so that those who have entered into the long night of estrangement and pain may reach out to one another again in love, may now choose each other in the clarifying presence of God's sunlight, may become determined to cultivate a future of God goodness together. When you forgive, you set a prisoner free, and you discover that the prisoner you release is you.